Hi, my name is Lindsay Ward, and I'm going to be walking you through my lesson for a first grade class. And the lesson title is about my family, and it's a writing assignment. My classroom has 20 students. There are 12 males and 8 females. 17 of these students are English language learners. 3 are English second language learners. 12 students are of Anglo-American culture. 2 students are of African American culture. 1 is of Asian American culture. 3 of the students are of Central Latin American cultures, and 2 are of East European. 1 student does have autism. 18 are meeting the core standards, and 2 of the students are not meeting the core standards. In terms of the nature of the learner, for each culture, all students place a high value on their education, and their families place an incredibly high priority on their students' learning, and they have a strong connection and communication with the teacher in order to assure that their students are excelling within the classroom and putting the effort forward in order to complete assignments and make progress over the year. All students essentially provide complete homework unless they have questions that can be answered, and is okay if they come in the next day with an incomplete assignment because they had a question. That will be addressed between the student and the teacher in privately or openly with the classroom if they have any questions, depending on how comfortable they feel discussing it with the whole class or if they want to just have a private conversation. In terms of one student with autism, they do place a high importance on knowledge. However, there's a greater value in developing the skill set physically, cognitively, and socially within the classroom. Education and routine are incredibly important in their families and highly valued. Families communicate closely with the teacher to ensure that the student is on track to goals set and requirements are met as per the student's IEP. They typically bring in homework that may be incomplete, and again, that's okay because all of those issues or questions can be addressed the next day with the teacher. And I don't believe in penalizing students if they have a question or if they're unsure. So that is okay. If they're confused, I can provide them with the assistance the next day, and they complete the assignment and submit it. So the purpose of the lesson, again, it's entitled My Family, and it's a writing assignment. The purpose of the lesson is to encourage students to learn about different families and share information about their own families. The students will focus on one topic and discuss in a group with their peers and teachers about families in order to create their own book that tells a story about their family. Students will develop an understanding of family structure and the type of families within different cultures. Through this activity, the students will develop this understanding by sharing, thinking about, and writing down facts about their families. To begin the lesson and walk you through how the day will look, the teacher will have the students come to the front of the room, and they'll sit in a circle facing the board, and the teacher will be sitting in a chair and have a book that is called My Family, Your Family by Lisa Bullard. In addition to her reading the actual book, or he or she, the teacher will have the book also be playing in the background on the board to provide a larger visual, and so that the words and images can be easily viewed by the students in case they might have a difficult time seeing it in small print, or they need to make that association by seeing both the words and the image within the book to develop a better understanding of the concept of the story. So My Family, Your Family by Lisa Bullard is a story about a young girl who is seeing a friend in the neighborhood, and she's starting to realize that there are different types of families. You know, some parents are divorced and separated. Other parents, other friends are raised by their grandparents. And in addition, sometimes, there are also parents that children have 2 dads or 2 moms. And she's understanding and beginning to compare and contrast all the different types of families that she sees within her neighborhood. So after reading the book, the teacher will ask students to list some different qualities and types of families that they learned about within the book or understand from their own observations within their own community. Students who participate appropriately and volunteer will receive a sticker for participation. So in the front of the room, there's going to be a large notepad, and each student will be encouraged to participate and just at least say one observation about families and different types of families that they have noticed or learned about within the book. And the teacher will write down their idea on the notepad. And again, each student will be provided with ample amount of social praise in order to encourage that participation and make them feel comfortable with sharing their ideas with their peers. The teacher will then introduce the students to the assignment associated with the group reading. So the teacher will have a pre-made small book, about 10 pages, just stapled together, white pages. And earlier in the week, the teacher will have the students bring in family photos. There will also be an email sent out to the parents to make sure that those pictures do come in prior to the lesson. The book will be entitled My Family, and the teacher will show a model of the book that they made of the teachers' families with their. The book will describe briefly in about 10 pages the teachers' types of family with traditions, their values, family members, the responsibilities, food, whatever important qualities may seem important about one's family. The teacher will present the book and read it to the students. And then they will ask the students if they have any questions or any comments about the teacher's family, and the teacher will be able to answer those questions because the teacher's family may be different than any type of family that the student is familiar with. After the model of the assignment has been presented and following the discussion, the students will be placed in a culturally and cognitively diverse groups in order to work together and begin to work on their own books about their families. So they'll be provided with paper, the stapled together packet for the book, markers, the photos that their parents sent in, I'll hand out to each student, glue, and they'll be provided a pencil. The assignment will be about 25 minutes, and the students be asked to work together with their peers to collaborate and guide each other as they engage in creatively making their own short stories about their individual families. On each page, there should be about one sentence, like about 7 words long, one simple sentence describing the picture. So it could say, my dad goes to work, my mom cooks dinner, something along those lines. The teacher will be walking around the room and providing any verbal or hands-on support for the students as they work on their books, and assure that the students are engaging in that social conversation with each other as they're working. In addition, the teacher will also put on at a low volume some music in the background as the students work. I always feel that working with music on helps the students, I think, become a little bit more creative and feel more relaxed and not so pressured that, it's a graded assignment. It's something that they should be having fun with and learning while they're completing. As a teacher observes the students are finishing the assignment, the teacher should ask if anyone requires more time. So if anyone does require more time, they'll be provided about another 10 minutes in order to complete the assignment. As the students are starting to finish up, if they finish early, they're going to be each student is going to be asked to be held responsible to clean up all of their materials and make sure everything is put away in the appropriate place where they belong in the classroom. After the students have completed their book, the teacher and everyone's station is cleaned up. The teacher will call each group individually to sit down on the carpet in front of the room and bring their individual handmade books. The teacher will then engage in a group discussion about how the students felt while making the project, if they had any questions, did they have any likes, dislikes, any difficulties. And then following this discussion, each student will present their book to the classroom. And again, they'll be provided with ample amount of social praise and reinforcement for coming up and doing a verbal presentation and participating in a large group with their peers, as again, this can be very difficult for students, especially at this age. After each presentation, the students will be able to ask their peers about questions about their families, brief, like 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll move on to the next presentation. At the end, after all students have presented their book to the classroom, the students will sit in a group and we can discuss all, again, now learning about so many different types of families with all the cultures in the classroom, the students will be able to ask or make any comments about things that they learned. And again, we'll go back to that big notepad and write down some more ideas of everything that the students learned by completing this assignment. And then in order to, again, just provide some final reinforcement for participating in that social and conversation with peers, as again, this may be very difficult for students, especially for second English language learners, as well as students with special needs. They'll be provided with a 15-minute break for the students to enjoy a snack and some short recess where the students can read books on the carpet, they play with toys, they could sit at the table and talk with their peers. During this time, then the teacher will have an opportunity to review the books and really review the sentence structure if that is on each page, and the students will be graded with incomplete and complete depending upon the fulfillment of all the requirements that were listed prior to them starting the activity. And once all of that is reviewed and graded, the students will be able to take home their books and share it with their own families. And that is the end of my diversity lesson plan about cultural family diversities and different types of families within our society. Thank you.